I'm joined now by Zoe Cohen from Just Stop Oil. Zoe Cohen, good evening to you. Thank you very much for being with us. So, disrupting the ashes tests this morning, are these disruptive tactics working?
Hi, Kamali. Thanks for having me on. Well, we're here, aren't we? We do this stuff because it works. One of the gentlemen just interviewed in that segment there said it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that ordinary people have to do these things to get our government to do the most basic of its duties to protect us. It is incompetent and criminal, and it is failing to protect and to keep us all safe right now. It isn't actually me saying that. It's quoting from Lord Deben, the chair of the Committee on Climate Change, and their report. He actually said this morning in an interview, the government isn't doing what it needs to protect people now. It's failing, isn't it, on every level, whether it's fuel poverty, food poverty, people who literally can't afford to heat or eat, how public services collapsing, shit in our rivers, you know, the list goes on and on and on.
No swearing, please. It's not past the watershed just yet, but we get the point that you're making. Listen, you say that the government's not listening, but with the disruptive tactics, have you changed government policy yet?
Great question, Kamali. Well, what we have seen is that all the opposition parties, all the political parties, main political parties, apart from the Conservatives, have come on board to a degree or other with the demand for no new fossil fuels, which is indeed genocidal and is supported by the demand is the same demand that the UN, the British Medical Association, you know, many organisations, the Pope, leading scientists, you know, the list goes on. It's not our demand. We're reiterating what around the world is the right thing to do. The government, sadly, has responded by authoritarian crackdown and removing our peaceful democratic right to protest. That's been their response so far. They seem to be more scared of a small group of ordinary people than you know, actually doing the right thing. They haven't yet done the right thing, but we have to keep going because new oil and gas is genocidal. I think you know that, don't you?
I mean, but it is counterproductive, isn't it, then, you would say, for this current government, for your tactics, you're not achieving what you're setting out to achieve. I mean, you may be convincing a future government, and, you know, the Labour Party have said that they're not going to bring in any new fossil fuel exploration in the North Sea. But this current government, your tactics are having no effect, and it's upsetting people as well, disrupting people's lives.
There's actually a lot of support, Kamali. The demand, no new fossil fuels, no new oil and gas licences, is supported by a majority of the British public. And if we're not trying to be popular, we're not trying to actually have support for us as a campaign, as people, that's not important to us. It's policy change that's important. You know, I mean, it would be great if you would actually support what we're doing. You know, we need people, people are joining us. So everyone who's watching this, do support, go to juststopoil.org, support the campaign, come down to Parliament Square, 12 o'clock Saturday, and, you know, do what's needed. History tells us, Kamali, doesn't it, that ordinary people coming together creates change. It's happened time again through history. All of our rights have come from ordinary people stepping up, and that's what we have to do now.
Absolutely right. But I'm just focused on this current government that you have in front of you, Zoe. And if your tactics are becoming counterproductive, if this current government is not doing what you want it to do, how are you going to achieve change if your tactics are making, as you say, this government crack down on the right to protest and other things?
Obviously, colleagues like yourself, journalists, editors in the media could hugely help this campaign, because it sounds like you absolutely get it. Thank you for that. Come on board, support us, and share. You know, get politicians on your programme, get climate scientists on your programme, get them held to account properly for the genocidal policies that they're having. You know, I noticed on the Sky website that you have an article about the Committee on Climate Change report and how appallingly poor the government's own plans are. And you've got a quote here from Lord Deben. I just wanted to read it out to your viewers. It says, "Everything we hold most dear is threatened by climate change. We can't let these chances go because they won't come again, and our children and grandchildren will ask us how it was that we let them down. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment to create real change, and it's going to come from ordinary people, Kamali. So more and more people are joining us, more and more people need to join us, need to come on the streets together, peacefully, slow march every week, and we create change together."
No, I hear you, and I'm glad you mentioned that slow march thing, because that is something that is really alienating people, isn't it? We tend to see these pictures of, people who are slow marching being dragged out the way by drivers, people unable to get to their hospital appointments. We know all the examples of it. What I'm saying to you, is there a danger that you could alienate people from the cause that you are fighting for, which is in many ways righteous?
Yes, I mean, no, it's not a cause, Kamali. It's survival. It's the everything we love. It's our food. It's our water. It's our ability to have an economic system, to have pensions, to have public services, to have our civilization. So it's not really a cause. It's everything, forever, everywhere. And no, this kind of alienation thing is a real trope that's pushed by a lot of the media. The data doesn't support that. We understand that for the period of disruption, people get annoyed and no one wants to cause that disruption. But actually, it's minuscule. There are thousands and thousands of roads in London, and they're slowed down, not even blocked, they're slowed down for a matter of minutes. Police arrest people very quickly, move people off the roads. It's minuscule. That sort of disruption happens all the time in cities like London on our major roads. And actually, the media don't report on it, but there is an awful lot of support. When supporters of Just Stop Oil are out marching, they have just as many people coming up to them giving support. There are a lot of silent supporters around the country, but because of this trope that's pushed about alienation, etc., people often are scared to speak up and say that they support. But I know, because I hear it all the time, and so do others within the campaign, we know that we have a lot of silent support across the country. I'm sure many people watching this, even if they don't entirely support any disruption, they absolutely are terrified. I'm really, really scared about what's happening in this country and around the world. Are you scared too, Kamali?
Zoe Cohen from Just Stop Oil, do appreciate your time. Thank you very much for that. And I do have to apologise for you swearing earlier, but I really do appreciate you coming on the show. Zoe, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you. Now, the actor Kevin Spacey